Welcome back. Next we'll look at the setup for TDD. What do we need to have in order to get started? Well, for a start, we'll need an IDE or an integrated development environment. And here we've got a couple of choices: Visual Studio Community Edition, or we could go for Visual Studio Code. There is another IDE made by JetBrains, I believe it's called Rider. I'll be using Visual Studio, so maybe you want to download that. Feel free to use Visual Studio Code. You can do TDD in there as well. Okay, I'm here in my favorite browser. I'm going to type in Visual Studio, see what comes up. Visual Studio IDE, community, let's just go to that. You go visualstudio.microsoft.com. Let's click on that. And here we go. So we've got a number of options. Visual Studio version 17, Visual Studio for Mac, Visual Studio Code, which is the one I talked about. And you can get that for Windows as well. I've got a Windows operating system, so I'll go with Visual Studio and Community 22. So I'm going to download that. And it's downloading it now. There you go, it's not a very big download. Cool, I'm going to double click on that now, see what happens. Right, it's first going to install Visual Studio Installer. No problem, I'll click on yes. So that was a very small package that I downloaded for Visual Studio Installer. Once Visual Studio Installer is installed, it will go ahead and download a larger package, which is a number of gigabytes, to install Visual Studio Community on my machine. So I'm going to click continue. Installing. Fantastic. And now we've got an opportunity to install a number of workloads. Right, so we're in here now, and it's time to pick a workload. I'll just make it a .NET Desktop development one. That seems like the most like a plain vanilla .NET development, where we can do a console application. Windows Forms, if we want to. We're just going to be developing business logic. We don't need to have any particular frameworks, anything like that. So .NET Desktop development it is. It's still, it's still 6.37 gigabytes, and I'm going to choose download all, then install. Or download while install while downloading. You know what? I'll go for install while downloading, and I'm going to kick this off now. Cool. Visual Studio Community 22 is now being downloaded and installed, and that'll take a bit of time. I'll come back when it's done installing. Okay, that it looks like Visual Studio has been installed. I'm going to click on the launch button. That should launch it here. Ooh. Microsoft Visual Studio 2022 starting up. Right, we've got the option of cloning a repository, opening a project, a solution, opening a local folder, or creating a new project. Let's try creating a new project. Whew, all sorts of options here. Console app, class library. We're just going to choose a class library. Next, I'm going to call the project TDD, and it goes into a particular path on my machine. Solution name TDD. Sure, why not? I go next. Class library. Right. And we're creating our project sitting inside a solution. And I just want to get things set up to the point where we can create our little unit test. Okay, this is looking really good. We've got our default class 1 file, class1.cs file open with a public class 1 in it. Yeah, that's not particularly useful, but you know, something to get you started. And over here we've got our solution explorer with the TDD solution, and inside that the TDD project. This is all very nice and good. And our class 1. Right, let's see whether or not we can write a little unit test. I would like to use XUnit to go up here to the NuGet package manager, manage NuGet packages for solution. Just going to use the UI for that rather than the command line, and then go browse. I'm going to type in XUnit. Here we go, XUnit. This is the one we want, and I'm going to say and pick it for the TDD project. In fact, that means all projects. 2.4.1 is the latest. I'm going to go install and OK. I accept. Brilliant. I believe we'll need xunit.runner as well. Here you go. Oops, xunit.runner.visual studio. Need that too. Yes. Okay, it's already got it ticked. Last stable version 2.4.3. That's not going to be installed. Click install for that. Yes, thank you. Excellent. And then we will also want the Microsoft.NET Test SDK. We will want that as well. So install. Yes, this will help us run. This will help us run unit tests inside Visual Studio as well. And I think that might be it. So we can close NuGet. And here in class 1, we don't even need to rename it. This is just let's just get a little unit test going. That'll work. So let's type in fact. Okay, it's complaining, but over here it'll tell us, hey, okay, using XUnit. Yep, that's what you want. But now it's turned green, which means it's recognizing it. Public void. So I don't know. Dummy test, and go assert equals, I believe, equal, yep, and that the expected value is 2 and the actual is 1 plus 1. Alright, see whether this runs. We will have to have the test explorer. Okay, it's there. I'm going to move that down to the bottom here. We've got our test coming up. Here we go. Just dummy test. I'm going to click on all of these. And hopefully that'll run fine. It's taking a little bit of time. Okay, cool. Here we go. Maybe I think you needed to compile. So we are asserting. So assert.equal. And there we can see that the first parameter will be the expected and the second will be the actual. And our expected will be 2. And our actual will be the addition of 1 plus 1. So yes, this worked out. If I make that expected as 3, but I'll leave the action to 1 + 1, and I'll now run it. Oh, the unit test comes up as red and is failing. Brilliant. So I'm just going to go back to that. All right, we've installed Visual Studio, the Community Edition for 2022, and which is very much the latest, and created a class library project, and then gone ahead and set ourselves up for a dummy unit test. We are now at a point in time where we can start at doing TDD proper. In order to do that, we have to have a project. So I've got one of those. I've got some business requirements. We're going to implement them. Let's look at that next.